Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Hello students, today we will do the first chapter of biology, that is life processes. To start with this chapter, let us understand what is life. Life is a cell-based complex system of molecules. It is self-regulatory. Many activities and functions go on inside the living organism for its survival. The study of all these activities, all this function, is a branch of biology which is called physiology. Physiology is a branch of biology which studies all the activities, all the functions going on inside a living organism. Now, so what are life processes? Life processes are all those activities and functions which undergo inside a living organism for its survival, for its growth, for its maintenance. All such processes are called life processes. They are important for any living organism, whether they are unicellular or most complex multicellular, whether they are plants or animals. All these life processes are same for all the organisms. For example, nutrition. We all need food for our survival, for our growth. Similarly, we all respire to obtain oxygen. That oxygen is utilized to release energy from the food. And then another example is transportation. The food and the oxygen obtained during these processes has to be transported to each and every cell of the organism. Likewise, there are many examples of life processes like excretion, like metabolism, the control and coordination, reproduction, etc. We'll study about all of them in class 10th. To start with, let us study nutrition. Nutrition is a process of procuring or obtaining the food and then utilizing it to meet the requirements of the body. Why do we need food? Food had certain important components which are called nutrients. We basically need all these nutrients for our growth and survival. The nutrients can be broadly divided into three categories. First is the energy-giving food, which give us energy to carry out these processes. The examples are carbohydrates and fats. Second category is the body-building food. Proteins come under this category. They build up the body, they build up the protoplasm. And third comes protective foods. Protective foods which protect us from various diseases and help in maintaining our immunity. So vitamins and minerals come under this category. So let us study again. According to these categories, let us analyze what is the importance of nutrition. Firstly, nutrition is important to obtain energy. All the activities which are undergoing in our body, like even if you are sleeping, your heart is continuously beating. Even when you are sleeping, you are continuously breathing. Food is being digested. Kidneys are filtering the blood. For all these physiological activities, we need energy, and this energy is obtained from the components of the food. Secondly, the body structure. All the protoplasm of the living organism is made from the food components. So, right from the origin of a living organism, it needs food components to build its body structure. Thirdly, growth. The food components are required to make new cells and to increase the volume. So for our growth, for making new cells, we need nutrition. And lastly, also for repair. Food is important for replacement of the worn out tissues or repair of the old tissues. Now, the types of nutrition. Nutrition can be broadly divided into two categories, autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. First, let us study about the autotrophic nutrition in detail. Now, this autotrophic nutrition, it has been derived from the Greek word autos, which means self, and troph, which means nourishment. So, self-nourishment. That means such organisms can make their own food by using simple inorganic components present in our surroundings, in our nature. Such organisms are called autotrophs. So all the green plants and green algae come under this category of autotrophs. The process by which these autotrophs make their own food by utilizing inorganic substances, that is water and carbon dioxide. This process is known as photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a biochemical process. They combine water and carbon dioxide, and the word photo means sunlight. So they use, for the source of energy, sunlight here. In the presence of chlorophyll, they form glucose and oxygen. So this is the basic reaction of photosynthesis. Water plus carbon dioxide. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, glucose and oxygen are the products of photosynthesis. So from this reaction, you can see there are basically 4 raw materials which a plant requires to carry out this process. That is water, carbon dioxide, sunlight and chlorophyll. Now, if all these 4 components are available in the green leaf, because the chlorophyll is present in the green leaves, so when all these 4 components, all these 4 raw materials are present, the photosynthesis process takes place. This process takes place in 3 major steps. The first step is absorption of carbon dioxide. First step is absorption of sunlight. How does this happen? The green leaves which have chlorophyll, the chlorophyll has the property to trap the solar energy. So that chlorophyll present in the chloroplast traps the solar energy. Then this energy, which is now present in the green leaves, is utilized to break water molecules into its components, that is hydrogen and oxygen. So 2H2O is broken down H2H2 plus O2. So the solar energy is converted into chemical energy by breaking down water molecules into its components. Then the third step is this hydrogen atom is combined with carbon dioxide to form simple carbohydrates. This is called reduction of carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is reduced to form simple carbohydrates, and the oxygen gas, which is not required by the plants, is released into the atmosphere. So these are the 3 basic steps which are involved in the process of photosynthesis. First, absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll, then converting this solar energy into chemical energy, then reduction of carbon dioxide to make simple carbohydrates. Now, how does this plant obtain the 4 raw materials? Let us study in detail. The first raw material is water. Now, water, you all know, water is present in the soil. So plants absorb this water from the soil through the vascular tissues, which are called xylem. Now, let us consider it as a plant. So there are roots. Roots have tiny root hairs which are very thin. Water is absorbed into the root hairs by the process of diffusion. That is from high concentration to low concentration. When it enters the root hair, it enters into the xylem tissue, which is the thin pipe-like structures, and it travels upwards towards the leaves through stem and through branches. Once it reaches the leaves, it is utilized for the process of photosynthesis. But since the water has to move upward against the gravity, it needs a pull. How is this pull created? Now consider you are drinking a cold drink with a straw. What do? You have to suck it in. You have to apply some force. Similarly, in plant, there are tiny pores called stomata on the underside of the leaf. They evaporate the water. They release the water into the air. That transpiration process creates a suction pull, which helps the water to move upwards. So, water is obtained from soil through roots. The vascular tissue involved is known as xylem, and the transpiration, that is release of water in the form of vapors, creates a suction pull. The next raw material is carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is present in air. We all know that. We breathe out carbon dioxide, but plants take in carbon dioxide, and this creates a balance in the atmosphere. So plants obtain carbon dioxide from the air. It enters the leaves through tiny pores called stomata. They are present on the underside of all green leaves. They are very tiny pores. They are surrounded by two guard cells. The guard cells are kidney bean shaped cells, and they have chloroplasts in it, which contains chlorophyll. All other epithelial cells do not have chloroplast, only stomata has the chloroplast. So in the epithelial layer, there are many such tiny pores. This opening is called the stoma, and the plural is stomata. The guard cells contain chloroplast, and these cells without the chloroplast are other epithelial cells. So the carbon dioxide enters into the leaf through stomata when the stoma pores are open, and oxygen is released through these pores only. So exchange of gases takes place through stomata. Now, the next raw material required is the sunlight. Sun is the main source of energy for the whole planet, and this light energy, which is trapped by chlorophyll, is utilized to convert it into chemical energy, which we just studied here. This energy is utilized to break the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, this light energy is the main source. Only plants have the capability to convert it into chemical energy and store it. And when we eat the food, we use that chemical energy for our growth and our development. Now, the next important condition is presence of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green colored pigment present in the green leaves. It has the property to trap the solar energy. It is present in the plastids. The green colored plastids are called chloroplast. So this whole process of photosynthesis is undergoes inside the chloroplast. That is why chloroplasts are called the kitchen of the cell. Now, there are two raw materials. As you can see in this equation, there are two raw materials, glucose and oxygen. So what happens to these raw materials? The glucose is a simple carbohydrate. So some of the glucose is used to provide energy because plants are also growing. So plants use it to get energy for their growth, for their development, and to carry out various processes. The excess of glucose is converted into starch and stored in the storage organs like roots or stems. For example, potato has stored starch, which comes from the excess glucose. And what about oxygen? Some part of oxygen is utilized for respiration. All living things respire, they need oxygen for respiration. So some part of oxygen is utilized there, while the rest is released into the atmosphere. It's like a waste product for plants. So they release it into the atmosphere. So now, you know why plants are so important. Because they give us two main things. One is the food, another is oxygen. All other living organisms breathe in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. It is only the plants which give out oxygen and maintain the balance in the atmosphere. And it is only the plants which can make their own food. And all other animals, all heterotrophic organisms depend directly or indirectly on plants for the food.